Yo, citizens of Coburg and survivors of the Hindenburg. Welcome to Slick Talks. This is Cleopatrick. What's up? I'm Nick the Slick of the B-Side blog, and I'm here with the gents in Cleopatrick. I'm here with Luke. I'm here with Ian. We are here near Victoria Park, and we are in the family van. How are you guys doing today?
Excellent.
Yeah. Thank you both very much for being here on this civic holiday. And you guys have been like relatively pretty busy, and especially since like the pandemic has kind of like slowed down a little bit. And you guys have recently celebrated the year anniversary of Bummer. You guys recently got out a documentary. You've been touring. You've been keeping busy. So I wanted to just do a quick check-in. How you guys doing currently? A little check-in.
Oh,
Pretty good.
yeah.
Pretty good.
All things considered, it's been a bit of an experience jumping back into touring and going so hard after not for a while. And it's, you know, as with everything, there's been ups and downs, and it's definitely been like we're back in it, you know. But I think we're both getting to a point where we're starting to kind of feel a bit more regular, which I don't know, it's just good.
Yeah, and so like one big thing that you guys have done since returning to touring is you guys got the chance to work open for Royal Blood at a history, and you did a tour in Canada, but you guys were in a couple of US date tours, right?
Yeah, we did 6 weeks with them, mostly in the US.
Yeah.
Which was maybe 2 months ago. 2 months ago we did that. It was like April to the end of May, I think.
Mm-hmm. Tell me how that was. Like, was that? I remember talking with you on the day of, and there was like a lot of pressure. How does like, you know, with being with probably one of the, if not the biggest two-piece group like worldwide, like how did you feel about that tour and just the whole like series of events that transpired then?
Yeah, it was super cool. I mean, we're really grateful to those guys for giving us the opportunity to do that with them. It was kind of like we'd never really done a support tour like that before. We'd done a couple dates here and there, but never like a proper 6-week like continental run.
Mm-hmm.
So we were excited, we were a little nervous.
And nerves must have been like off the charts, especially like at history, right? That was your first time there?
Yeah, it was our first time in history. Honestly, we didn't feel too nervous though, like the playing, because we knew like all our friends would be there.
Yeah.
It was okay. That was a really good way to start that tour.
Absolutely.
It was in a city where we know a bunch of people, but yeah, it was hard work. It was a kind of there was a learning curve to opening for someone for that long, but it was all great. They were the nicest people, they had an amazing crew, and we had a good time.
I'm curious, curiosity, what is the learning curve like?
It's kind of like, well, not every crowd's gonna love you, and it's like, you know, we never had like a crowd that booed us off the stage or anything, but we had to work to get them to feel it, and we always do that work, like even at our headline shows, but it was just different playing for someone else's crowd. There was like a new edge to it, which was challenging and fun.
So with the album being out for over a year, your musical style, like ever since you guys started out, you guys had 2 EPs come out, and they're like really balls to the wall, like full of fun. Not that this album isn't, but they have like more of a serious tone to them. There's been a lot of experimentation and stuff like that. And given the timing, I'm curious, did the making of Bummer, was it impacted by COVID, or was it just a result of experimentation?
I think I think it kind of was just I think where we were headed in general for the majority of this band. It's kind of how we've always wanted to sound. There was a really big like goal, which was just kind of trying to not replicate, but like represent the live show, because we hadn't really felt that our studio music up to that point fully captured what it felt like to be in a sweaty basement, just like me smashing the cymbals way too hard, and just Luke's rig, just absolutely kind of this claustrophobic, almost like energy to it.
There's a lot of noise that like goes into it.
Yeah, and that was something that we kind of had been talking about capturing for a long time, and I think we both were and are very happy with what we did, but I think that was just kind of where we were headed, and I think maybe with the time we were like allowed enough time to spend and actually like nail it the way it is. So it's hard to say. It's like maybe it wouldn't have been quite the same if we didn't have as much free time, but also maybe it could have been better.
I think that Bummer is our most serious work yet.
Yeah.
I think it's very serious. I think the other stuff I think you can hear us kind of feeling it out on the EPs. We don't really sound like a real band. I think like we sound like our influences a bit.
Right. Like Highly Suspect and even like some Royal Blood stuff.
Yeah, it's sort of like loose, like a combination of a lot of different things. We sound young, but I think on Bummer, like there's something exciting to me about it. It's like it feels like a very solid foundation for what we do next.
And with like the opportunity to experiment and just try out new stuff, like it is pretty different compared to like the early stuff. So like what were you generally listening to? Because I'll hear stuff like that you'll mess around with, and like with your little vignettes and like little little pieces of like just like little bits of like noise and stuff. Like what artists like kind of help like fuel that that sound and like help bring those songs to life?
Yeah, I think we really wanted to make the record feel cohesive, like from front to back. So it was again like trying to capture the live show feeling and the kind of effect of like the combination of a bunch of different instruments really being like compressed together.
Like it's about to burst almost.
Yeah, things feeling like they're very baked in with each other. Like you're really listening to not just a mix, but like the output of something. And so that was an aesthetic we wanted to follow with Bummer, was for it to feel homemade and like intense. That probably a lot of that inspiration came from there's a band called Show Me the Body that put out a record called Dog Whistle. That really wowed us. Like it did that thing of capturing their live show and just like this chaos and aggression that came with it. They broke a lot of rules as far as like recordings go, and that was super exciting to us. And the guy, we should also mention this guy we produced it with, his name's Jig Dubé. He's in a band called Zig Mentality.
Listening to them in the car.
Yeah, so Jig and Zig, they were working towards a very similar sound, trying to capture like this liveness that we felt is kind of not represented in rock music today. Like I think that rock music, maybe a lot of artists go for the polished thing, and we wanted to just try the other side of it. Let things be like intense and feel like they were, ran through a busted speaker.
That work paid off because you guys got nominated for a Juno.
Yeah.
You guys, I don't think like it really came up in conversation a whole lot. Like when it came out, like where were you guys? Do you recall where you guys were like on the night of the Junos?
Well, yeah, we were in
somewhere in Texas.
Yeah, somewhere in Texas on that Royal Blood tour.
Right on.
Yeah.
It's insanely great stuff, and like with the amount of like time you guys have been around, like it's like how does it feel? Like how does that like feel about like just a debut effort and an independent one at that, like getting that kind of recognition?
Yeah, it was nice. It was really cool. I think feels good. Like we've often sort of felt like the underdogs and taken pride in that. It's been like a fun like a motivator kind of almost, like to feel like no one's really listening, so like here we go. We're gonna do our thing and kind of do it unapologetically, but to be recognized with that with that nomination. It was validating. It's a nice little pat on the back, and it was like, oh, look at this.
Yeah, like, and it really begs the question, like, who knows, like, what's next, you know? And I wanted to touch upon, you guys recently showcased a documentary, a film called Bummer, here in Coburg, and about your guys' headlining set at the Danforth. And at that time, the pandemic was, like, pretty much at, like, a standstill. Do you guys feel like there was, like, a specific kind of pressure, like, with it being a headline show and just all this uncertainty surrounding it?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. I don't really know how to expand on that. I guess it was like really, we had done like one tour, one pretty decent sized run before that show, and that was like our first like tour back ever. And I think for that show specifically, we that wasn't too much on our minds, luckily enough, and that show kind of just got to exist as its own thing. But the build-up was like I feel like I remember us being not even certain if it was going to happen or not, and it also happened like the day before there was another lockdown. Like we got very, very lucky. So it fortunately never affected the night. But I mean, looking back, like I feel so grateful that we were able to actually execute that, and it in my heart and in my soul, and I feel like when I talk about it with friends, it kind of gets to exist separately rather than like one of those first shows back from the pandemic, like because that there's that narrative that, you know, is a very beautiful thing, but it's like it almost can take away from some things at the same time, even though like I'm beyond grateful to be back playing shows. It's like I don't know, it's a cool thing that those things can kind of exist separately. And like with making the film, it's like I don't watch that and go like, oh, like that was a close call there. It just gets to kind of exist, and that makes me really happy. And it's still, of course, we're mindful of that, but yeah, I don't know if that answered your question.
Do you feel like with like how things are progressing and like so much happening over the last like year, do you feel like there's a bit or maybe a lot of pressure on you guys?
Yeah, I mean, most days not in a bad way. Like we care even more than ever about stuff we're doing, and there's more people watching, and we want to do right by them and right by ourselves. But there's definitely days where it's hard. It's hard because we've chose to be independent and to keep our circle small and do things our way. It means that like for stuff to get done and for us to keep moving forward, it's on us, which we most of the time welcome. But it's hard. It can be a little exhausting at times, but we got a lot of good people around us that are looking out for us.
That's good. And I think to end on this, first of all, thank you guys for doing this, and secondly, I think it goes without saying that like this is it's a very strong first effort, especially as an independent band. I think you guys took a lot of risks and it paid off very well, and there's a lot of work that really went into it, and it shines very well. I would argue it's probably arguably one of the greatest like debut albums, if not, and like rock records that have come out probably in like the last few years. And I think like you guys, you might know that, but like I want to just say like I hope you guys know that. Great first effort. Congratulations on a year of Bummer.
Thanks, Nick. That means a lot.
Yeah, no problem. I've been Nick the Slick. This is the B-Side Vlog. Thanks for watching.